And welcome to my talk, making small free indie games. It used to be called designing indie games with a team of one, but both titles are sort of true, so don't panic. Basically, I design indie games on my own, so a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is specifically for people who want to make games on their own or with very small teams, however you want to work that. So a friend of mine called Reagan suggested that I start with a joke, and I'm not very good at jokes. So, given that this was PAX, I thought I would bow to the masters. Open with a joke. And what the fuck does that mean? Right. So, who am I? I'm Michael Todd. I run a website called Spy-Eared. That's my weird art up there. I tend to post most of my projects on there. It was just I happened to have the domain name from somewhere, and I started putting games on there 6 months ago, maybe 7. And so since then, I've made a whole bunch of games because one of the things I do working solo is I try not to make huge games that take me years, because there's lots of penalties to doing that on your own. There's lots of pros to doing it small, quick games. And although the first ones were moderately successful, the later ones got publishing deals, got awards, got written up in blogs and magazines and CD covers and all sorts of stuff. Right. So that's a collage of my games. Right, so this is my first game. This is the game that every indie makes. It took me 8 months. It could have easily taken me longer, but it's your sort of standard 1-year game. It was my first real game. I'd done a whole bunch of tiny projects, student work, work with my friends, but this game took me 8 months to make. It only took me $5,000 to do, and I worked at a job for 2 days a week, and I got danger pay because I was working with crack addicts, which allowed me to do game design the other 5 days. I'm not dead, so it was a good idea. It's zombies, dual flamethrowers, mechs, and when you upgrade, you get money. When you upgrade, it's a whole building game. It's like Widget Workshop or The Incredible Machines or Armadillo Run, and it sort of combines the two. You build a gadget and then you shoot stuff. But since then, retrospect has taught me that that's not a really great plan. You need to have averages. There's a huge chance that I would have failed. Many times I did. I went 6 months in and I gave up. And then I went to GDC and I was like, wow, indies are so cool, and spent another 2 months finishing it. So since then, I've moved into doing small games. This game is Garden. It's interactive collage. You grow from a very dull gray background and you grow this garden using mana and focus. And it's built on a very solid economic simulation sort of background. There's a lot of sort of math, but it's all simplified into a very flowing interface. So, I made it in 7 days. I made this game in 7 days as well. It's called Beekeeper. It's about industrious little weird creatures doing missions for the Greek gods, and you keep getting attacked by the god of the underworld and his hell crows. And it's weird. It's very weird. The whole thing is the platforms rotate like a globe, so you have this sort of very 3D building sphere, so you rotate it and then you build a factory and you rotate it. And there's some pipes and stuff you can run that works with that. Again, I made this in a week. This is my most recent one. I'm just skipping over these. I've made like 12 in a week so far, but this is my most recent one. It's Broken Brothers, and I'm actually not working on games in a week, probably for the next 6 months, because this one got a couple of publishing deals, and that's what I'll be doing for the next little while. It's even weirder than the rest, so I suggest you go to my site and download it. It's a 3D RTS in sort of a dream hell, and you have to harvest hope to restore this guy's zeal for life. I was depressed when I made it up. Okay, so yeah, this talk is for game designers, people who've done games or for people who are just starting out, people who've got that idea but haven't actually done anything about it. This is the only screen to do with getting into the industry. If you haven't done a game and you want to, do so. It's fun. It's an incredible experience. Use GameMaker, Unity. I didn't put Flash up there for some reason, but use an engine is my personal opinion, but you can work from scratch. Okay, so it takes 2 weeks. You learn a scripting language. You make a game of stick figures. All right, you got your little game. You got your little guy running around. But the problem is, all the books and the talking and so on, then seem to jump to $100 million budgets and the next Halo. And I was sort of like, okay, so I'd like to sort of pay rent, and I know how to make this little guy move around. What do I do? So I've been using this new method, and I work solo, and I make small games, and it has been working quite well for me. The new method is called making a game in 7 days. It's quite self-explanatory. I sit down, I make a game, it takes 7 days. Occasionally it takes 10 days because the game is larger than I thought. A couple have taken 4 or 5 days. And it's really amazing the number of benefits from this. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds like I'm wasting my time. Nobody buys games in 7 days. Nobody, really cares. They want to go AAA, Halo, Company of Heroes, all that stuff. But there are a huge number of benefits to doing games in 7 days. So that's sort of what the talk is about. So the first point is working solo is not well suited to long-term projects. You get depressed. You get lazy. Your work ethic screws up. You get bored of the project. You get distracted with other things. You don't have an office set up where you can sort of have other people buoy you up. You don't have deadlines. You don't have people who are paying your paycheck saying, come on, keep working. And I have reasonably strong work ethic. I like my job. I have passion for doing games. But 8 months was insane. Like 6 months, I was so incredibly depressed. Working was a chore. It was just not a great idea. I mean, there has to be a better way. But working solo is very well suited to short-term projects. You have much higher efficiency than a larger team. You have lots of little benefits doing it on your own, which larger teams just don't have the flexibility to do. So, accepting this, we can use small games to increase our ability to make large games, which means when I made my first game, I had a horrible chance of success. But if I'd made a bunch of small games before, I would have learned tons. The thing is game design scales some of it. Some of it doesn't. Some of the lessons I learned in a week are the exact same lessons that you'd learn in a year. They don't scale. It's like when you're thinking about signing contracts, when you're getting offers, when you're emailing people, when you're designing, when you're coming up with an idea, when you're conceptualizing the project. Those things don't actually scale. They really don't. The skills are the same for a year or for a week. And, well, I spent a week. I mean, I've done worse things for a week. There was this one time in Rio. And, yeah, so you can use small games, not necessarily to sell on their own, but you can significantly increase your chances of finishing a large game. And you can increase the chances of when you finish the large game, actually making it something that people want to play. Because you've got experience. You've designed half a dozen games. You've had half a dozen forum feedbacks where they are talking about the pros and cons, and it really filters into gaming experience. So the sum up of this is just I make a game in 7 days, and then I do it again, and then I do it again. The first month I did 4. I averaged 2 because games are hard to make, and I frequently fail. But that's all right because it's just a week. What's the big deal? People have a lot lower pressure because it's just a week. Someone says this game sucks. Why isn't it Halo? I made it in a week. Pretty good. You wrote it. I'm not the first one with this idea. Kyle Gabler did it to make World of Goo, which I'm sure you've all heard of. He made Tower of Goo first. Cactus makes small games by the boatload. Kyle Gray does games in a week, and Petri does Grand Physics Deluxe. And there are a ton of others. It's not new. John Mack did Bubble Thing for Everyday Shooter. Audio Surf came from a game in a week. There are tons of successful games that came from a game in a week. And Petri's point, actually, at GDC at that talk, was that he made 10 indie games, 10 games in a week, before he got Crayon Physics. Because his first one was shit. And then his second one was slightly better. And then his third one was sort of cool. And it took